Our next voice you hear will be that of the Reverend Dr. Waltrina Middleton, who is the Executive Director of the Community Renewal Society, one of our Jubilee sponsors for Proctor this year. She is the daughter of Proctor and a proud Gullah girl from the Sea Islands of South Carolina. Reverend Dr. Waltrina was the inaugural Jeremiah Wright Scholar for Prophetic Preaching, and she was a vital voice in the aftermath of the slaughter at Mother Emanuel, where one of her relatives was a victim. What I know about Waltrina is that she speaks with authority and courage. She speaks with power and prophetic witness. She's not afraid to tell the truth wherever she is. And I'm grateful that we get to have a testimony by her tonight. Because sometimes when we say we're testifying, we're just bragging. But one cannot have a testimony without admitting that one has had a test. I've never heard her speak when I wasn't moved. And I'm going to get out of the way because I believe she'll testify.
Peace and gratitude, beloved members, partners, allies, and friends in faith and justice. My name is Reverend Dr. Waltrina Middleton, and I am so blessed to serve as the Executive Director of Community Renewal Society. Today I'm before you to share a profound message of humanity, hope, and healing that extends far beyond this gathering. We are gathered here as architects of hope, builders of justice, and healers of communities, ready to embrace our theme for this remarkable year ahead. We recognize the magnitude of the afflictions around us. This includes housing insecurities of migrant families seeking asylum, the genocide of Sudanese, Congolese, and Palestinian people, and a multitude of domestic and diasporic crises, each integral to our mission. In the embrace of our theme, we lift the powerful essence of humanity, a humanity that weaves through the fabric of every policy, strategy, and action we undertake. It is the light of empathy that guides us through the valleys of discourse and disagreement, illuminating our path with understanding, compassion, and acknowledgement of our shared human experiences. Healing as one is not a passive journey. It is an active engagement that extends beyond our immediate communities. It is where forgiveness dances with accountability. As we gather today, we carry with us the stories of those who journeyed through pain and turmoil, escaping war in search for a better life, carrying the scars and aspirations for a future with hope. We unite in solidarity with those whose pleas are often disregarded and whose struggles are intertwined with the injustices we strive to address. Our theme resounds with the melody of hope, a hope that does not wait in the shadows, but takes center stage in the spotlight of our actions, words, and beliefs. It is the deliberate choice of optimism, a courageous act of envisioning a future vibrant with inclusivity, justice, accountability, and love. It is a hope that extends to all those affected by the harsh realities of our world. Healing as one encompasses not only our vision, but our shared commitment to addressing the global challenges we face with the understanding that this must be our call to action. For such a time as this, our commitment must continue the work of healing, justice, and unity that we have carried throughout the year. Let this be an opportunity to connect, celebrate, and chart the course for the year ahead. in this somber hour, we remember the words of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Love is the heartbeat of the moral cosmos. Just as we have been the architects of hope in our communities, let us be the architects of unity and progress in our collective work and responsibility. Today, we are the prophets calling for freedom and liberation for all, extending our reach to those affected by migration, genocide, war, poverty, and injustices in many forms. We cannot afford to be silent or comfortable, otherwise future generations will ask, where have all the flowers gone? Where have all the prophets gone? In support of humanity, hope, and healing, we invite you to join us in this important ministry and work. Thank you for your love and support of Community Renewal Society.
Peace and blessings, Proctor family. Peace and blessings, Proctor family. I greet you in radical hope and with love. To Dr. Iva Carruthers, our General Secretary, Reverend Dr. Jeremiah Wright, to the entire Board of Directors and staff, and to each of you present, thank you so much for the gift and privilege to be able to come before you as a daughter of the Samuel DeWitt Proctor Conference to share and witness. Being here today in the capacity as Executive Director of the Community Renewal Society is truly a full circle moment, and I do not take it lightly. My journey with SDPC began almost 10 years ago as a student. I discovered a conference that was deeply rooted in Black liberation theology and a profound care for humanity and advocacy in the world. I was impressed with its mission to nurture, sustain, and mobilize the Black diaspora faith communities in collaboration with civic, corporate, and philanthropic leaders to address the critical needs of human and social justice within the local, national, and global spheres. As an intern, I personally witnessed Proctor's commitment from the bayous of New Orleans in urgent response to the broken levees, deaths, neglect, and displacement of citizens following Hurricanes Katrina and Rita and the broken levees. And I must say that that was a powerful moment because when the nation was calling the residents of this community refugees in their homeland, Proctor was hosting hearings and calling out our nation leaders to say that there must be justice and restitution for those who have been displaced and who were ignored amidst their suffering. Proctor's rapid response to a deadly earthquake in Haiti, to the anti-apartheid movement in Palestine, and to the streets of Baltimore, Chicago, New York, Ferguson, and beyond. When society needed to hear the names of Freddie Gray, Eric Gardner, Laquan McDonald, Sandra Bland, Michael Brown, and Tamir Rice, Proctor not only said their names, but it also created curriculums, trainings, and a host of resources to support faith leaders, educators, activists, and lay community in disrupting the status quo and calling out the hypocrisy in the various industrial complex that perpetuates systemic and systematic racism and disinheritance. For example, Proctor partnered with Michelle Alexander to create a scholarly and spiritual curriculum to accommodate her best-selling book, The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. How many of us can attest to the powerful witness that body of work was for us in our community? And so it is not a coincidence that Proctor was a part of that movement. Such work is invaluable to the classrooms of seminaries across the country and abroad, helping to bridge the gap between faith, prophetic witness, and social justice, and nurturing emergent leaders. For example, Proctor has been a long-standing delegate addressing the United Nations. Dr. Carruthers was the only U.S. citizen invited to speak representing faith communities. And yes. And in her speech, she called on the United Nations to examine the staggering high domestic unemployment rate among young Black men, a lack of affordable housing, and a lack of local laws designed to protect Black children. In that speech, Dr. Carruthers quoted the prophet Jeremiah when she said, "They cry for peace, and yet they ignore the wounds of my people." In that same address, our General Secretary spoke woefully of the reality of moral injury. The false narratives that are too often imposed upon a community fighting for its rights and human dignity, that is moral injury. And moral injury is the convenience of dead, inconvenient heroes, according to Wendell Himes Jr. And Himes said, "Now that the inconvenient hero is safely dead, let us praise him, knowing that the dream for which he died is still a dream, a dead man's dream." Perhaps this was what Langston Hughes lamented in A Dream Deferred when he asked, "What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat or crust a sugary over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it's just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode?" Proctor has courageously raised the questions of moral injury, exposing not only the dreams deferred, but also the lived nightmares, the horrors and violence against our humanity. We are here today, each of us, we are here today because we share in the vision, mission, and witness of Samuel DeWitt Proctor, because we, like Angela Davis declare, God, help us to change the things that we cannot, we will not accept. Community Renewal Society is here as a Jubilee sponsor because we seek to be in solidarity as a missional partner. We know that our movement for freedom, justice, love, and liberation is stronger when we as a people are united, unbroken, and unbowed together. We are here in solidarity with Proctor because right now, apartheid and genocide is occurring in Palestine, where more than 2 million Palestinians, more than half of their population, are displaced and without access to medicine, medical care, water, food, or a place to call home. This is because their homes have been demolished to rubble. The parallel between the violence against the bodies of Palestinians and the violence against Black, brown, Asian, and indigenous bodies cannot be ignored. The dispossession and the silence when we cry out, "We can't breathe," is what Palestinians are crying out as they struggle to breathe amidst the dust that rises up from the rubble that has claimed their homes and their lives. When I say this is a full circle moment, it is because as a student almost 10 years ago, I was upon my first journey to Palestine. When Dr. Wright and Dr. Carruthers learned that I was going there, they ensured that I was familiar with the challenges in the violence against Palestinians. And they encouraged me to go with open eyes and with consciousness so that I would not be fed the lies and propaganda that would meet me there. And so just yesterday, I returned from a witness sojourn from the West Bank. And I stood with others in the rubble of a family's home that was demolished early on the morning of Valentine's Day. A family of 12 in East Jerusalem are now unhoused, and they are criminalized for the alleged crime of not having a permit to build their home. And to add insult to injury, the order was to demolish half of the house because only half of it was illegal. Now you tell me, how can you live in half a house exposed to the elements? And ultimately, when they went to demolish half of the house, it brought the entire structure down. and yet the family refused to leave their land. 10 years since my first trip. Not much has changed in terms of the parallels in our struggle. So it is not by accident that in this hour of horror, as we witness genocide, it is my duty to accept the invitation to share this testimony and to bear witness to our moral injury in this country, the dispossession and murders of a race of people in this country, and also the moral injury and dispossession and murders of a race of people in Palestine. We must be the voices of moral consciousness and demand an end to genocide. We must demand an end to U.S. funding of this bloodshed. And we must demand the Palestinians' right to return and reclaim their land and have a voice in rebuilding their future. We must declare it together, because if they come for me in the morning, they will surely come for you in the night. SDPC is a worthy partner, teacher, and a prophetic witness in the world. We are children of the diaspora. There is no place in this universe where we do not belong. And so we have a responsibility to not only speak out and to be voices in the wilderness, but to celebrate rich legacies that help to nurture us, support us, encourage us, teach us, and build a foundation so that we can go out and be the change that we seek. Proctor is that mission and that rich legacy. And I am so proud to be a daughter of Proctor. And I'm so proud to now stand before you as a fundraising partner to support this legacy. We must continue to be that moral voice, speaking truth and power in the world, but above all, centered in love. May God bless you, and thank you so much.